Today we're going to study SD 49.14 Chatuka Samana Sutta. The original title of the sutta is very short, it's just called Samana Sutta. Samana means recluse. It's a broad word meaning it is inclusive of all those who are non-Brahmins in the Buddha's time. It's a kind of, you can say, the reform movement. But in the Buddhist circles, Samana or Sanskrit Shramana refers to the practicing monk. Now this sutta comes from the book of Force in the Anguttara, so I've put the prefix Chatuka in front, meaning the Force, the book of Force, or quartets if you like. You can say the quartets discourse on the recluse, but it's too big a word, so I thought Force is much simpler, easier to remember, easier to know. And this is from A4.239, in other words, the book of Force, sutta number 239. And the theme is the lion roar on the four kinds of noble saints or noble individuals. Now, this is a very short sutta, very much like the Sambuddha Sutta, where the Buddha declares that the Buddha's awakening and the Arhat's awakening are identical. The only difference is that the Buddha appears first in this universe, and then comes the Arhats. So here in the Samana Sutta, in that same spirit, a short sutta with a very profound, very important teaching, the sutta tells us who are the saints, the four kinds of noble individuals, the Aryas. And in this sutta, there are three important things, or generally speaking of early Buddhism, we need to know three important things about who are the ones who are awakened. So this sutta, number one, defines the four kinds of noble individuals, the four kinds of saints. The extreme winner, the once returner, the non-returner, and the Arhats. The Arhats, of course, includes the Buddha too. The second point to remember here is the Buddha declares that awakening is only found in the Buddha Dharma, nowhere else. And Buddha Dharma here refers to early Buddhism, the teaching of the Buddha himself in unadulterated form, very simple, very direct practice. Number three, according to early Buddhism, according to the historical Buddha's teaching, awakening is gradual. So you find in later Buddhism, they say things like there is sudden enlightenment, so they change a lot of things. So you can say that's a totally different religion, if you like. Now the term for the noble individual is Arya Puggala, or in Sanskrit, Arya Puggala. Now what was interesting is Sanskrit does exist in the Buddha's time, even long before the Buddha's time. But the Buddha never used Sanskrit to teach the people because the common people do not know Sanskrit. It's like speaking Oxford English, and those who go to the universities would speak that kind of, or nobility. In other words, it's elitist. The Buddha uses probably a few vernaculars, dialects to speak to the people, because the people who come to him are ordinary people. Even to the Brahmins who come to him, the Kshatriyas who come to him, the Vaisyas and Shudras, he speaks dialect, so that everyone else can understand what he is teaching. And this is one of the reasons why Buddhism was very successful above all the other religions. The Buddha spoke the language of the people, and he even forbade the use of Sanskrit when teaching the people, not because he disliked the language, it's because that's the elitist language, the priestly language, which the common people do not understand. Anyway, the word Arya means noble, and this is another very interesting note we should be aware of. In the Buddha's time, the four classes, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaisyas, and the Sudras, the priests, the nobles or warriors, the mercantile class and the working class. They are called the Aryas, or in English the Aryans. There's a theory that they come from somewhere in Central Asia and they were fair-skinned and the local were dark-skinned. Of course, this theory is still uncertain today, but anyway, that's a general idea. So the invading Brahmanical base society, we like, call themselves the Aryas, the nobles. I mean, it's just like when the French invaded England in 1066, and you have this French nobility, and French became a high-class language. So the Buddha uses this term Arya, which meant the noble class, the upper class, and then the locals are malicious. In other words, they were the common people. So the Buddha uses this particular word to show that he rejects the idea that there is this class. So to him, that this class is just a kind of a false construction by the Brahmins to segregate by status the different people of the Buddha's time. So there was this reform movement so early, 2,500 years ago. So the Buddha, by what I call natural adaptation, he says, well, to me, Arya means noble, and you are noble by your actions, you're not noble by birth. If you act pure, you're pure. If you act bad, no matter what birth, whatever class you come from, whatever caste you come, you're still impure. You still create bad karma. So Arya comes to mean anyone who practices and does good. But he's more specific. He says that the true noble is one who has attained the path, the stream winner. And as we know, the stream winner is one who has, number one, given up the idea of self-identity. He doesn't identify himself with any part of his body or even the whole body. In other words, he knows this body is changing all the time. Change is a very important teaching in early Buddhism. So he doesn't say, this is my body or my consciousness and so on. And number two, he has no doubt about the Buddha's teaching. His mind is clear. In other words, he finds out what really is going on, what are the teachings, so that he knows what are the rules and practices accordingly. And number three, he is not superstitious. He is not attached to rituals and vows. In other words, he does not look for answers outside of himself. And this is a very popular Brahmanical idea, where the Brahmins say, well, we have karma, and karma here refers to the proper rituals. Everything must be done exactly, so much of this, so much of that, so many priests must chant, you must chant like this, and so on and so forth. So the Buddha say, well, karma is your own action, your deliberate action. If your intention is pure, then your action is pure. If your intention is impure, your actions are impure. So he, this stream winner, in other words, he has overcome this idea of looking for answers, looking for salvation outside of ourselves. In other words, salvation is within ourselves. After all our problems start from within us, from our own mind. Since our problems start from our own minds, obviously, logically, the solution will also lie there. So we have to understand the nature of the mind. So once these three fetters are broken, the fetter of self-identity view, the fetter of doubt, the fetter of attachment to rituals and vows are broken, the person becomes the first noble individual. No matter what class or caste you are, male or female. And this is a stream winner, so-called because you go into this boat and this boat goes upstream towards the ancient city called Nirvana. And then if you overcome a bit more of the great head delusion, you have more control of yourself, your senses, then you become a once returner, Sakadagami. The first is called Sotapanna, and the second noble individual is called Sakadagami. One more rebirth to go. Now, of course, most lay people can attain this level, but in order to go further, to become even a non-returner, you need to master your whole all senses. You got to be able to rise beyond your senses. You are no more in the control by your senses. You are no more caught with sensual pleasures, and this is very difficult. So the Buddha introduced this idea of monasticism, of people taking this monastic life as an alternative life, so that they can live celibate life. They do not get involved with sensual pleasures, no families, and no sex, and so on, so that they can direct all their energies to deep meditation, called jhanas. And jhana is something, it starts when you totally are able to free yourself from the powers and distractions of the five senses. All the five sense doors close, if you like, they're suspended, and you meditate with pure mind. And once you have the ability to purify your mind, that way you direct experience joy in its pure sense, and you feel so happy. In other words, you don't need the body anymore for that kind of pleasure. So imagine it's purely mental, so you're no more attracted to the body or to the sensual pleasure in that sense. So this is the non-returner. He's able to overcome sensual pleasures also, and the opposite of sensual pleasures, that's something like ill will and so on. And finally, the Arhat is able to overcome not only all these defilements, but also wrong views and all whatever defilements that remain, and is fully awakened just like the Buddha. So these are in brief the four saints for individuals. So let's see what the Buddha says about this. On page 72, the fourth discourse on the recluse, A4.239. Section 1. Only here, bhikshus, are there the first recluse, the second recluse, the third recluse, the fourth recluse. Notice this is the first line, opening line. The Buddha speaks in a very simple, non-technical way. He just says, first recluse, second recluse, third recluse, fourth recluse. There's not even names for them. Empty of recluses are the outside systems. Thus, bhikshus, you rightly roar the lion roar. So here the Buddha is saying, you want to stand up for early Buddhism, you want to stand up for my teaching, this is what you declare. That the four kinds of noble individuals are only found in this teaching, Buddha Dharma teaching of the historical Buddha. And the other systems do not have these four saints, these four individuals. Now what's ironic is the later Buddhism, especially Mahayana Buddhism, actually degrade the four saints. They say, oh, it's not enough to become an Arahat, the Arahat still needs full awakening. And by doing that, by rejecting the four noble individuals, it's obvious that either they do not know these teachings, or if they know, they have rejected this teaching. And that shows they are following a different system. So ironically, they say there are no four individuals, so they are outside the system in that sense. So this is what the Buddha is telling us. If you want to really attain awakening, this is what you do, this is what you follow, don't change things. Then the Buddha goes on to define each of these four recluses. Notice again, apparently only in the definition the Buddha gives the kind of, you might say, the technical name if you like. Okay, section 2. And what bhikshus is the first recluse? Here bhikshus, a monk, one whose three fetters are totally destroyed, is a stream winner, no longer bound for the lower world, surely going over to self-awakening. Thus bhikshus is the first recluse. This is a beautiful definition on what is the purpose of being a Buddhist. We should at least strive for stream winning. And this is the definition of stream winning. Now, I've already mentioned to you earlier on what the three fetters are. The three fetters are broken, and that person is a stream winner. And what are the benefits of a stream winner? He's no longer bound for the lower worlds. The lower world here is a collection of a few places, like the animal world, the world of the hungry ghosts, or the pretas, the hell beings, okay? And sometimes the asura worlds also, the the demons. These are very fierce, exploitative demons. In a psychological sense, in our present life as humans, we have a human body, our minds would not go down to those subhuman mentalities, if you like. We won't behave like an animal, or like a predator, like an asura, or like a hell being. So we will not fall into those subhuman levels of conduct in this life or in the next life. The next line says, surely going over to self-awakening, you are bound to awaken to become an arahat. Of course, in other suttas, it is mentioned that the Srimana will never be reborn beyond 7 lives. But I've asked many monks the meaning of this number. Apparently 7 is a symbolic number. Because even one life, let's say the Srimana dies, or this person dies as Srimana and is reborn in one of those high worlds, Brahma world, and is going to live on in that world for a few world cycles. It's a long, long time. Right? So even with the 7 births, it can be very long. But even then, those 7 births, or those remaining karmic lives, are such that this Srimana will never be reborn in a lower suffering state. He will always be reborn in a place which is conducive, a situation which is conducive for Dharma practice. So that's one assurance we get. That's one. We are preparing ourselves, in other words, for that place and conditions to continue our Dharma practice. So this bhikshus is the first recluse. So this is what we should attain, we should aspire to as lay people, right? So we may have families, we may be businessmen, we may be politicians, but we'll be good family people and businessmen and kings, like Bimbisara was a Srimana. Then next the Buddha defines the second recluse, section 3. And what bhikshus is the second recluse? Here bhikshus, a monk whose fetters are destroyed, whose 3 fetters are destroyed. Okay, this is the key line. And with the diminishing of lust, hate, and delusion is one's return. So there you are. Yes, he is a Srimana, but he goes on to maybe do a bit of mindfulness practice, maybe some meditation, and is able to overcome greed, hate, and delusion a bit more. So with that, he becomes a once returner, meaning one more life to go. In the next life, he will become an arahat. So notice, he is a once returner, returning only once to this world to make an end of suffering. And this picture is the second recluse. So he dies, then he's reborn, and that's the end. Now comes the third kind of noble individual, the non-returner. Section 4. And what bhikshus is the third recluse? Here bhikshus, a monk with the destruction of the 5 lower fetters, is spontaneously reborn. Okay, 5 lower fetters, you have the 3 fetters, and then number 4 is sensual pleasure, number 5 is the opposite of it, ill will. So this non-returner breaks all the 5 lower fetters. They're called 5 lower fetters because these fetters bind us to the sense world, to this world we are living now. And once he breaks this 5, when he dies, he's reborn in a dimension, if you like, called the pure abodes. It's not exactly a place like Earth, it's a dimension in space-time continuum, if you like, and only non-returners are born there. So once they're born there, they do not return here, not naturally anyway. But from the stories we get, like the story of Katikara, we know that the non-returner can visit the earth. We have no reason to do this except maybe to meet the Buddha. So Katikara comes and visits the Buddha. He is a non-returner from pure abodes. And then the Buddha continues with the definition of the non-returner. He says, and they attain final nirvana without ever returning from that world. So this in other words, goes on with this meditation, lives in the pure abodes, and finally attains nirvana. Finally, we have the Arhat, section 5. And what bhikshus is the fourth recluse. Here, bhikshus, a monk, by realizing for himself through direct knowledge, right here and now, with the destruction of the mental influxes, attains and dwells in the influx-free freedom of mind, freedom by wisdom. This bhikshus is called this bhikshus is the fourth recluse. So here, the Arhat have overcome totally sense desire, desire for eternal existence. In other words, the subtle wishes. Although this Arhat is able to meditate, he has no interest of being reborn in one of those form worlds or formless worlds, very refined existence. He has overcome views. He doesn't get caught up with knowledge, if you like, knowing this, thinking of that. He has overcome ignorance. He understands the nature of life completely, the Four Noble Truths. So this is a kind of summary of all the rest, the other last 5 fetters, if you like. So he's broken all the fetters, he has overcome all the defilements, he has complete knowledge of the Four Noble Truths, and there's no more karma that he will create, and he is not reborn anymore, and he's an Arhat in that sense. There are no more conditions that bring back any more life or suffering for him once he dies. So that's the Arhat. Then the closes by saying, only here bhikshus are there the first recluse, the second recluse, the third recluse, and the fourth recluse. Emptier recluses are the other outside systems. Thus, bhikshus, you rightly roar the lion roar. Notice, it's a lion roar, it's a statement we must stand up to. So this is the basic teachings of the historical Buddha, which is worth our remembering, so that we simplify our practice, we go straight to the purpose of our spiritual life, here and now, in this life itself, even as lay people, or as monastics, as monks and nuns. So do remember the teachings of the historical Buddha. With that, let us close with a short reflection. While the suttas are still available to us, let us spend time in our wisdom to reflect on them, so that we are clear about the task before us, and we are inspired with the joy and the energy to practice this teaching, so that we are simply happy, simply in the sense we don't need anything at all to be happy. Maybe we just watch the breath or cultivate loving kindness, and this brings us profound liberating joy in this life itself for our happiness and the happiness of our loved ones. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the power of such karma, may we be empowered with courage and wisdom to aspire to stream winning in this life itself. By the same token, by the power of the three jewels, let us cultivate loving kindness to ourselves, that we be blessed with good health and a good clear mind, so that we can complete our practice and attain stream winning at least in this life. And also we send out our loving kindness to our loved ones, our family and friends, and those who have been kind to us, supportive of us in the Dharma work. May they be well, may they be happy. And also by the power of the three jewels, let us send out our loving kindness to all those people who are still struggling to seek the truth. May they quickly see the true teachings of true reality in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.